Exporters across the globe are buzzing about one phrase, the 50% rule. Some say it's about to rewrite the rules of trade. Others fear it could cut them off from key markets overnight. What is this rule, and most importantly, are you safe? Let's break it down. Welcome back to Ask the Customs Manager, where we take complex trade regulations and turn them into clear strategies for your business. Today we're talking about the 50% rule, what it means, why it matters, and how you need to prepare before it causes trouble with your exports. What is the 50% rule? The 50% rule is a content origin test used in several trade and sanctions regulations. In simple terms, if a company, entity, or even a country that makes up 50% or more of the ownership, control, or content of a product is restricted, then your product is restricted too, even if the banned party isn't directly named. The U.S. Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, for instance, applies this to ownership. If a sanctioned individual owns 50% or more of a company, that company is considered sanctioned as well. In customs, origin rules under free trade agreements often use a similar rule of thumb. Products qualify if 50% or more of their value originates in the allowed country. Why exporters are shocked? Here's why people are nervous. Many exporters didn't realize how deep the 50% rule can go. It forces you to look not just at your direct partner, but at who owns them, and sometimes at the full supply chain behind your product. Example: if you're exporting machinery assembled in Germany, but 60% of its components are from China, and your deal requires EU origin goods, suddenly your product doesn't qualify for tariff benefits. Or in sanctions. Maybe your customer in another country looks legitimate. But if they're owned 50% by a sanctioned entity, dealing with them is a violation, even though their name never appeared on a list. This is why so many exporters feel blindsided. It's not the customer you see, it's the shadow ownership or sourcing you don't immediately see. Global trade context: governments introduced the 50% rule to close loopholes. Too many companies tried to hide behind middlemen, shell companies, or component sourcing. By setting a simple cutoff, regulators made clear, half or more, then it counts. We're now seeing this language pop up more often, not only in US sanctions, but in trade agreements, customs origin tests, and now even in some green regulations around sustainability content. It's becoming a standard global benchmark. What this means for you. So, what does this mean for exporters like you? 1. Ownership checks. You must dig into who actually owns your customers and suppliers, not just first layer, sometimes second or third. 2. Supply chain audits. You need to map where your inputs come from and how much of the value they represent. If more than 50% comes from outside an agreement zone, you might lose duty savings. 3. Compliance investment. Automated compliance tools, restricted party screening, and origin calculation software aren't luxuries anymore, they're your insurance policy. 4. Documentation. Customs won't just take your word for it. Certificates of origin, supplier declarations, and audit trails are essential. How to protect yourself? Don't panic, prepare. Here are 3 practical steps. First, review your top 10 export products and work out where their value comes from. Get supplier declarations now. Second, run deeper checks on your top 20 customers. Don't stop at the company name, trace who owns them. Third, train your sales and logistics teams. They're often the first to spot red flags, but only if they know what they're looking at. The 50% rule isn't really new, but the recent enforcement push makes it feel like a shockwave for exporters. It's a reminder that global trade is no longer just about where you ship, it's about who owns the supply chain and where the real value comes from. If this breakdown helped you better understand the 50% rule, hit like so other exporters see it too. And subscribe to Ask the Customs Manager. We make sure you're aware of the hidden traps in international trade before they cost you fines, delays, or lost opportunities. Remember, safe exporting means looking beneath the surface. With the 50% rule in play, it's no longer enough to check the name on the invoice. You've got to know the story of ownership and origin behind it. Until next time, happy and safe trading.